Hey, what's going on? If you have been running Baldur's Gate 3 lately and you felt like something was off after the last update, this is the kind of patch note that instantly makes sense of it. So let's talk through what actually changed, because the core of this hotfix is pretty focused. First, they fixed a framerate drop that could spiral into a full crash when loading a save game. That is a big one, because loading a save is one of those moments where you just want the game to get out of its own way and let you play. Nobody wants to hit load, watch the performance tank, and then get booted out entirely. Larian also says they fixed several crashes, which sounds broad, but it is still useful because it tells you this was not a single isolated bug. This was a cluster of stability problems that needed attention. There are also a couple of platform-specific fixes that are worth calling out because they show the update is not just about general stability, but also about making sure the game behaves properly where it is actually being played. On Xbox, they fixed a bug where tooltips in the inventory and trade windows would not display correctly. That sounds simple on the surface, but in a game full of item comparisons, equipment management, and trading, broken tooltips can get annoying very fast. It slows everything down and makes the interface feel unreliable, which is the last thing you want in a big RPG where every item and stat can matter. On Mac, they fixed a bug that could stop you from moving past character creation after starting a character introduction cinematic in honor mode. That is a brutal place for a bug to show up, because character creation is the doorway into the whole game, and honor mode is already asking for a very committed run. Getting blocked there is not a minor inconvenience, it is a hard stop. What stands out to me in the wording is that Larian is not pretending this was a giant overhaul. It is a targeted repair job, but a meaningful one. They are specifically addressing the performance issues that came from the earlier save game-related update, and they are also cleaning up the kinds of crashes and blockers that can turn a good session into a frustrating one. That makes this feel like one of those maintenance patches that does not sound dramatic, yet ends up being the patch that quietly saves a lot of people a lot of trouble. If you have been seeing weirdness during loading, random instability, or interface trouble on Xbox, this is the update you have been waiting for. And from a content standpoint, that is probably the story you will want to tell your audience. This hotfix is not about adding new features or changing the game's direction. It is about restoring confidence. It comes after an update that was supposed to solve save game corruption, but instead seems to have introduced new trouble for some players. So the message here is pretty clear. Larian noticed the backlash, investigated it, and moved to stabilize the game across platforms as quickly as possible. That is a good sign, especially for a game with a huge community that pays close attention every time something changes. If you are turning this into a YouTube script, the natural angle is to make it feel like a reassuring breakdown rather than a dry patch summary. You can frame it as, here's what went wrong, here's what got fixed, and here's why this matters right now. The biggest talking point is that save loading performance issue because it directly connects the previous hotfix to the problems people were feeling afterward. From there, the rest of the update gives you clean, easy to understand examples. Crashes are being cleaned up, Xbox interface tooltips are fixed, and Mac players on honor mode are no longer getting blocked before the game even properly begins. That mix keeps the script grounded in practical player experience instead of just reading like a changelog. So the overall takeaway is simple. Hotfix number 36 is a stability-first update that follows up on the earlier save game fix, patches the performance issues it accidentally brought in, and clears out some nasty edge case bugs along the way. It is the kind of update that does not try to steal the spotlight, but absolutely deserves attention, because it makes the whole experience smoother, safer, and less frustrating. For a game as massive and session-heavy as Baldur's Gate 3, that kind of maintenance is not just useful, it is essential.